If you're watching this video, it's because you think your team can make the playoffs, but you think you might need a few more players to get you over that hump. But you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. Well, guess what? My 0-6 Jets, we have no shot at making the playoffs. But here are 6 players I think could be traded at the deadline. Jets, 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 Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, I still have more of the Just End the Suffering shirts. If you want to get one of those, link in the description down below. They're not just for Jet fans. They're for other NFL teams that just have Jet fan friends that they want to make fun of and give them a shirt. So if you want one of those, or if you want the chance to win a shirt, all you have to do is join the Flick chat in the description down below and answer one of the poll questions. But guys, let's move on to our video and the top 6 Jets that I think could be traded at the deadline. The New York Jets, before the season, Jet fans were kind of hopeful. We were expecting Sam Darnold to be in the second year of this offensive system, have him hit the ground running. We brought in a few new weapons, added a few new pieces across the board to the offensive line, and we're sitting at 0-6, with our head coach likely out the door, and poised to get the number 1 overall pick, which means we could be on a fire sale, and we could be giving away everyone. So, your team could be the benefactor of that. My Jets are going to be trading away a lot of players, and let's break down some of the players that I think could be on the trade block for the November 3rd trade deadline. The first player on my list is Avery Williamson. He's an inside linebacker for the Jets that's been here for the last 3 years. He tore his ACL last year, so he was recovering all offseason, and he's really hit the ground running this year. He's 28 years old, has a 60.2 Pro Football Focus grade, 28th ranked linebacker of all linebackers in the NFL, and has about a 1-year, $1.5 million deal left that you would be signing on for if you were to trade for him. Now, what would the Jets want in return for this? He's a good player. He's a player that's likely not getting re-signed after the end of the season. So I think a 4th-round pick, if the Jets could get it, that's probably a little high. I'd probably take a 5th-round pick as well. Team-wise, I think the Steelers make a pretty good home for him. They just lost Devin Bush to an ACL tear. If they're looking for a relatively cheap option to plug into their linebacking core to hopefully win a Super Bowl with Big Ben, probably going into his last season or in his last season right now, that could be a really strong option for them. The next player on my list is Brian Poole. He is a slot corner for the New York Jets. He's been with our team the last 2 seasons, and he has played phenomenally well the last 2 years. He's 28 years old, has an 82.7 Pro Football Focus grade. He is the 6th-ranked cornerback of all cornerbacks in the NFL and probably the best slot cornerback in the NFL today. If you trade for him, he's going to get about a 1-year, $800,000 deal. That's just what's left on his contract. Jets would probably want a 4th-round pick. Obviously, we'd take anything higher than that, but I think a 4th-round pick is the sweet spot for an elite-level slot corner in this league. Up next, I have wide receiver Jamison Crowder. He is 27 years old, has a Pro Football Focus grade of 76.7. He is the 24th-ranked wide receiver in the NFL. He has 2 years remaining on his contract, so you'd be paying him about $5 million this year, $10 million next year. That $10 million is entirely cuttable, so if you really didn't want to have him beyond this season, you could cut him and save the entirety of his contract. Now, the Jets would probably be looking to get a 3rd-round pick for Jamison Crowder. He's not a player I particularly want to get rid of, especially since he has been easily our best weapon on the offensive side of the ball, and Sam really needs as much help as he can get. Not to mention, if the Jets do wind up going quarterback high in the draft next year, Jamison Crowder would be a good security blanket from the slot for any quarterback. Up next, who doesn't love a booty pick? That's right, I'm talking about safety Marcus Maye. He is 26 years old, 73.7 Pro Football Focus grade. He is currently the 11th ranked safety in the NFL. He has 1 year, $700,000 left on his rookie contract. He's going into free agency after the year, so more than likely, if the Jets don't believe they're going to re-sign him, they could be trying to move him at the deadline. I think we're going to want a 3rd-round pick. He is a very good safety, very versatile. He is a strong safety. He is a free safety. He spent most of his time at free safety, but he has played a little bit more in the box this year now that we don't have Jamal Adams. And I think he would be a great addition for a lot of different teams. I think Dallas, Baltimore, maybe the Saints, teams that could use a little bit of help on the back end, would be very wise to try and get this guy in there. Again, it's going to be a very cheap contract, so I think it would probably bode well for a team up against the cap, trying to go for the playoffs. But Marcus Maye, nice addition. The next player on my list is Quinnen Williams, the third overall pick from 2019. He's 22 years old. He has a Pro Football Focus grade of 71.2. He's the 29th ranked defensive lineman in the NFL. He has about 3 years, $1 million per year left on his contract. He also has the 5th-year option, which we have not exercised, obviously, because we're still, only in year 2 with him. Now, why would the Jets want to trade him? He was not a pick by our current GM. He is a player that is going to be able to provide us a very valuable asset in the future. We're going to be looking for a first-round pick for him for sure. If not, we're just going to hold on to him. But the Jets are looking to revamp their offense, and an interior defensive lineman who is elite at stopping the run, but just so-so at the pass rush, is not really high priority for the New York Jets or for getting a young quarterback started. So while I really like Quinnen Williams, I think the ability to trade him for a first-round pick would really mean a lot for this franchise. One team that I could see really going after him would be the Raiders. There were rumors at the trade deadline last year that they were looking to possibly move up to get him or move a pick to go get him. So potentially, if they are still looking in the market, the Jets would be willing to listen to a phone call. So let me know if you think that's an option, Raider fans. The final player on my list is none other than 2018 third overall pick Sam Darnold. Yes, he is our franchise quarterback, but man, we are in a world of hurt at 0-6 right now, and the Jets seem poised to potentially get the top pick and select Trevor Lawrence, which would reset our quarterback clock. And this is not an indictment on Sam Darnold. I really like Sam a lot. I think he has all the tools to be an elite level quarterback in this league. He has absolutely regressed the last 2 seasons under Adam Gase, but look at what Ryan Tannehill's doing in Tennessee. That does not mean you cannot fix a quarterback that was under Adam Gase. Now, because Sam's contract is coming up, he's in his 3rd year. You're going to have all of his 4th year, and then you get to decide on his 5th year option. Unfortunately, the 5th year option, you do have to decide this offseason. So if you trade for him at the deadline, at least you get a little bit of time to kind of work with him before you have to make that decision. He's 23 years old. He is the 2nd youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, although I guess he might be the 3rd now with Tua starting and Herbert starting. I don't know. Really young, either way. 58.7 Pro Football Focus grade, 30th ranked quarterback overall, 2 years, $1 million per year, plus that 5th year option, which is probably going to be about $25 million. But if you are a team that is close up to the salary cap in 2021 and you want to have a cheap option that you may not be able to draft a quarterback, like let's say you're a playoff team like maybe Dallas or the Colts or the Saints or the Steelers with Juju Smith-Schuster, who he did play with at USC. One of those teams could potentially trade for Sam Darnold, have a very cheap, high upside quarterback for just about a 2nd-round pick. Now, the Jets are going to want a 1st-round pick if they wanted to trade him in season, I think. I think after the year, I would expect probably a mid-2nd-round pick would be where he kind of lands. And again, I think Sam could really be a good quarterback. I think if he plays under Sean Payton, for instance, I think that could be an incredibly, incredibly valuable situation for him and a great heir apparent for Drew Brees. In terms of in-season, maybe if Dallas thinks they could win the terrible NFC East and they need a quarterback because they didn't like what they saw out of Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold, while he may not know your playbook, may wind up being better than what your options are currently this year. And if you're willing to sacrifice a draft pick at a shot at maybe going to the big dance, if you think Sam Darnold could win with a good offensive line, all the weapons you have, I wanted to pair CeeDee Lamb with him this offseason, but you guys got him. So who knows? Maybe you guys want to trade for Sam Darnold. Guys, let me know what you think of the Jets players down below. Are they all hot garbage? Are my values completely out of whack? What would you give up for any of these players? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to get one of the Just End the Suffering shirts, link in the description down below. And as always, go Jets.